Be radical. That doesn't go anywhere near long enough for me to do what I was trying to do. Welcome, everyone, to the ComX Recent Reads show. This is where we get a bunch of people together to talk about comics we've recently read. So I'll go around the room just to introduce each person, and they can show what they're reading or just say what they're going to talk about, not reading, what they're going to talk about tonight. So I'll just go like a clock. Ed, what are you doing tonight?
I'll be doing Blade Whip by Sean Crick.
Yeah, and Ed is known for Radical. I forgot to say that. Even though I talked about not forgetting to say that. Then we've got Ryan, Christopher, ComX Original Art coming soon. I like that. I was wondering what the new name was, but yeah, cool. We'll go with that. What are you talking about today?
I'm talking about the Spider King.
Oh, nice. And Joe Rowe, or more aptly known as Justin McNamara. Sorry.
That'll do. Any of those will be fine.
I have troubles with names.
I am
Stu's friend. What are you reading tonight?
I am. I found a book full of horror and terror. The Book of Genesis by Robert Crumb.
Oh, cool.
Cool. And then we've got the man who calls himself Darker Half, but better known as Sean Craig, who is the one comic I do know him for is Blade Whip. What are you telling us about today?
Probably one of the later manga releases from Viz Media, which is Heart Gear Volume 1.
Cool. Thank you very much. And I am Sis from ComX. And if you don't know what that is, I'd love to know how you found this channel. I am doing this one, Understanding Comics, The Invisible Art, because it's the only thing I read this week. So, Ed, I didn't get the file up quick enough. We just go to each person now? You don't know either?
We'll do the comments first.
Comments, yeah, cool.
So we've got Jeffrey saying, "G'day all. Hi everyone from Absent Minded." And Shane with the Joe Rose rocking the Nerds of Oz tee.
Ooh. I would do the woo, but I can't. My voice is gone.
And we got the Hey Readers from Nick May. Oh.
At last, someone's acknowledging our literacy.
And James is saying hi to Justin.
Cool. Well, that's the show intro. I guess the other thing I should probably say that I forgot to say before we started, for everyone watching, don't forget to like the video, share the video so other people get to hear us talk about these things. And yes, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That would be awesome. That helps us make more content like this, and hopefully long enough for me to do it with a voice again. It's a weird thing that I have going on, coming out of my mouth at the moment. So this is the part where we go to talking about our books. Usually I'll start with myself, so I will again. Okay, cool. Okay, so Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. I read the first half of this a while ago, so that's a little vague. And then this week I read the second half. I think I recommended this book just on the first half a couple of episodes ago. Now that I've read the second half, this book's bloody amazing. Second half is even better than the first half. Just learning about how comics work. Like one of the favorite things that he talks about that I really like is he calls it, I think, closure. And it's where between panels, the reader makes up what happens in their brain, and that's doing panel to panel right, so that they make up the right things in between is a big part of comics. And without that, the comics kind of just a bunch of pictures. There's just so much. I'm sick at the moment, so my memory's not working the best, but he's got this great page. I'll show you this page. I love this page. Depending which direction you go, it's a totally different story, even though it's the same panels being used, just in different orders and so forth. Just showing you how that well, pretty much that closing, you get more closure in between each one, where you make up more about the story because it's got less panels, or it's got more panels, so you make up less because it's showing you more and stuff like that. Like I don't know where the page is because I didn't mark any of the pages. I wasn't that forward thinking. There's a great page that shows you the story, like really like 3 lines long in panels, and then just 2, and then just 1, and then just in 3 panels. And they're all the same story, but they show you how the extra panels make a difference to what and how the person thinks of the story. While the other ones, you are doing a lot of the thinking to fill in the gaps, I guess. I might be blabbering here, but I found that really interesting. Another thing that he showed was the movement of objects, that apparently it was, now I'll see if I can find it. Apparently that was actually invented, movement lines, but it hadn't been a thing before this time. Duchamp. I don't know. Apparently is the first person who did it. And he gave a year, but I can't find it here. But yeah, so that was a new thing. I found that fascinating because I'm just so used to lines and little things like that to show movement and stuff. And it's because before that, comics weren't used to show movement. So just the history of comics in this book is amazing to learn all these different things that didn't used to happen, or there's some examples of how manga do things different and theories on why it's different, like where the cultural differences that change the way they went, because Japan was very isolated from the rest of the world with comics, so they evolved inside themselves their own ways, and then as it trickled over, some of those things trickled into Western comics when they went, oh, that's a good idea, we'll do that too. Yeah, it's just very thorough, great read. If you like comics, this is great to read, to learn about how it all works together, how the pieces, I could go on forever, to be honest, about all the stuff that I learned. I won't, because you're not meant to. But it's just, I highly recommend it to anyone who just wants to know how comics work. As the title says, understanding comics. Whether you're making comics, which I think is the main target, or just want to learn about how they work, this is a great book. I would say the main target is people making comics, because there's quite a few inspirational stuff about why you should go for it and the different things you can do and the reasoning. Oh, this was the other thing I liked. That can be seen. You can see the words up there. The surface, craft, structure, idiom, form, and idea. The different stages of developing comics, the different places you can be while you're learning comics. You got your surface, which is just making it look cool. And if that's all you've learned, then you'll be picked apart when you go to a show to take it to an actual person who knows what they're doing, because they'll see all the things you haven't got, all the craft you haven't done, all the structure of how it all should go together, the practicing of anatomy and all that sort of stuff that goes into comics. And I mean, you can make comics in all these levels, he was saying. It's just what you do is different when you're in each one. I could pick on someone, but I won't, because I've done enough of that today on who is in the surface area, but we won't go there. So yeah, highly recommend it. If you read comics, it's a good book just to, if you love comics, you'll love them more after reading this, because this just tells you what a great art form it is. And it really argues that comics shouldn't be this second-rate art form that it is treated like. He really talks about that a lot, that it's an art form in itself, and it should be up there with all the other art forms. So yeah, that'd be my end of that one. Anyone got a question about the book?
Does he have a sequel to that, Reinventing Comics or something like that?
Yes,
as well?
he does. Yeah, I've got that as well, actually. I haven't read it yet, but
yeah, okay.
That's what my cover looks like. And I just dropped everything. That's what my cover looks like, but yeah, it's got a different cover.
Okay.
So different publishers, I think.
Mine are older.
Oh, yeah.
And he's the
Yeah, I've got my
Dilbert
recent
guy, right, isn't he?
He's the what?
The Dilbert guy? Is he? Did
No.
he?
No, Scott
He
McCloud.
did Zot before.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's even on his T-shirt in that first cover, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he did this one as well, Making Comics.
Oh, cool.
Now, I'm thinking by the grey in the hair there, that's his way of saying this is his latest book. I don't know. I'm just,
He's
So
read
I'm looking
Richard.
forward to after reading that one, I'm going to dive into these other two. Likely, they will be coming up in the show soon.
So understanding comics is really good for when you're making comics. It explains the various processes, like how time works and how like as Sis was saying with the closure, the stuff that happens in between the panels, and it when you've got that understanding, when he's broken it down into such a almost molecular level, you can, when you're thinking of what you're going to do on your page, like if you have to get a character from A to B, like how are you going to do it? You could do it in one long panel with the guy walks through, and then that's the sections of time, or you could do it in lots of little panels, and it really sharpens up your your knowledge base, and it puts a lot more arrows in your quiver when it comes to the actual storytelling bit of drawing a comic.
Yeah,
it's like a visual dictionary.
Yeah. Well, it's written as a comic. That's what I love about it as well. It's all panels. So yeah. So he writes it as a comic and shows what he's talking about in himself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, he also points to things that you should do to sharpen your skills as well, like other things outside this book that you should look into. He references what's that guy's name? I've got a book of him somewhere here. It's really embarrassing that I don't know his name because he's really famous. Will
Eisner?
Yeah, that's it. Sorry, my brain's not working. He references him a couple of times, his book as well. Yeah.
Comics and Sequential Art.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, it's a good book, that one. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Another one that I really like that's sort of in a similar vein, there's a mangaka named Hirohiko Araki who did the JoJo series, and he's got an amazing book called Manga in Theory and Practice. And it discusses it discusses don't just create your image for your character, but create his background. Why does he wear that hat? Why does he have that ring on his pinky? Like, come up with reasons as to why that character looks that way. It's a fascinating book, and it's not just for comic people. Even though he is a comic guy, it's interesting for like if you're in any form of entertainment, as to create your characters to be more real.
Oh, cool! I like it. I'm gonna have to add that to my list. A long list of how to make comics type books.
Yep.
Is there any comments? I'm not looking.
We've got Nick May with the Husky Sizz.
Husky Sizz.
Got Peter with the Hi All.
Hey, Peter.
And Kirby with the Hello. Oh. And then James Mahoney saying, welcome to Kirby.
Into comment conversation. Okay, so who am I going to pick on next? I'll go backwards. Sean, do you want to talk about your book first?
All right. So the book I got was Heart Gear. And yeah, this is manga from Viz Media. And this one's done by, if I get the name right, Tsuyoshi Takaki. Okay. And this is his previous one was Black Torch. I never actually read it, but that was another series. That only went for 5 volumes, and that one was like a science fiction / supernatural. This one is actually definitely a lot more science fiction based, and this one was actually so I was doing some research for this. It was actually inspired by the 1982 film Android.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I never heard of that movie either, but so like if there's any film buffs out there, like watching this, like do fill us in. So it's pretty much about this 11-year-old girl, like called Ruby, who apparently probably could be the last human being on the planet, because this is like based 200 years after the Third World War, and the world's kind of being wasted. But it's like androids or gears, as they're called, just run around the Earth. And she's pretty much getting looked after by this other robot called Uncle Zet. That's what she calls him. Excuse me. Yeah. So that's something up there. So that's at the start. So, and later on the way, she actually runs into another robot, but he says he's got no purpose or base. So he just lives with them for a while. Then all of a sudden, like in the book, he ends up they run into a insane gear, which is like gears that kind of lose their purposes, or like their warrior code just takes over and they just kill anything alive. And of course, like Uncle Zed, he pretty much gets destroyed. Then the other robot, he almost gets destroyed. Then all of a sudden, like they'll pop out the other main character, where he called Chrome. Then he's just like, now I've got a new purpose or base program to protect Rui. So they pretty much decide to see if they can find parts for carer robot Uncle Zet, because all they got is the brain, or pretty much the processor. So they're pretty much on the quest to go see if they can repair him, or pretty much go find parts, or the other option is to find the Heaven Land, which is like a place for gears made by gears. And yeah, it's actually like the action flows pretty quickly. Like I definitely like the art on it. It has a bit of a sketchy but still clean kind of look at it. The characters are pretty decently presented. And a little surprising thing, like this book is actually sold 3 times more in the West, especially in France, than in Japan.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's actually up to volume 4 at the moment, because I was actually looking it up on YouTube on certain new books, manga to read, and this was one of them. So it's like, yeah, I might as well give this one a shot. And yeah, I wasn't disappointed.
Are you going to keep getting it?
Yeah, I think there's probably going to be like 7 or 8 volumes all up, so it's not a massive long series.
Oh, I do love a short run manga. It's always nice just to have like that start and finish to a story.
Yeah.
I'm
Like,
also
there's
a
been a
sucker
number
for
of
like
them
an
like
Android
that, like
human.
there was that Colorless, like that just finished like 2 months ago. That only went for 7 volumes. Because there's a heap of them, but they go up to like past 20 or 30 volumes.
I start to lose interest when they get up that high.
That's over well over 100, and that's like still going.
Wow. So, what was it again that got you into this book? You said a YouTube channel?
It's just
Like a review.
these have actually got their own YouTube channel. Like, obviously, anybody can have a YouTube channel, but there are some like manga reviewers out there, and I just like click on certain ones, like especially with some other like older mangas that I've missed, and that. But this was the one where they say like people should be reading Hard Gear more. So I was like, okay, here's the reason why. And yeah, after that, it's like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I actually they have copies in the library, so I was able to get it from there first before I just like purchase it. But read one volume. Like this was like 2 months ago. It's like, yeah, I'll get it when I get the chance. And so like, here I am. And I'm willing to get some more.
Awesome.
Yep.
We got a question here for Sean.
Yeah.
So the gears sentient, or are they more like Gundams or Evangelions?
No, they're pretty much like they're pretty much like androids.
Oh, okay.
Like Transformers
So
kind
pretty
of
much like there's
robots.
basically they said nearly all human life has been wiped out. So the main character, the 11-year-old girl, is probably the last human being on the earth. But you know, they're going to be traveling. You know, they're on the quest, so they might run into some other humans. You never know, or maybe they'll run into some cyborgs. You know, it's just started. Like near the end, like there's a battle on the bridge with this other robot. They had this argument. It's just like his job is just to not let anyone pass on the bridge. And they're like, how long have you been sitting there for? And he's like, 200 years. And it's like, why do you keep following it? Because he's like, because that's my order.
Yeah. I get that. That's really cool.
Yeah. And of course, with the Chrome character, like at the start, he's kind of like, it's almost like an infant kind of stage. Like he's just started to learn, like he has no idea. Of course, you know, kind of like that character with amnesia, but then like he starts like start having a bit of character development on the way, but also like he starts getting some extra abilities that he didn't know exist or something, or he just starts doing it with instinct. So I wouldn't say it's not exactly like the most original thing, but I will say like the execution of how this is just like it's pretty damn well.
Cool.
Nice.
And on my list. Cool. Well, I'm going to go in the backward order. So I'm going to pick on Justin now.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to pick on you, Justin. I'm sorry.
Cool. Okay.
Tell us about your book.
So, growing up in the early 80s, the three artists that I only ever cared about were Jack Kirby, John Byrne, and this guy, Robert Crumb. Robert Crumb was one of the 60s head artists, and most of his stuff was sort of in Weirdo and Hup. He did a whole pile of stuff that was that went from just sort of cutesy cartoony to like full tilt adults only sort of stuff. And he was doing some research for a new work, and he was going to be doing a parody of the story of Adam and Eve. And in doing his research, he started reading the King James version of the Book of Genesis in the Old Testament. And then he also found another book by an author named Robert Alter, who wrote a book called The 5 Books of Moses that came out in 2004. And so he decided to not translate it, not do his version of it. It is the literal translation of what's in the Bible.
Okay.
The artwork is absolutely stunning, rendered in the way that only he can. It's very wordy. It's now I'm not particularly religious at all, but I'm such a fan of his art that I had to get this because you look at panels like this one here, just the rendering of people and all the rest of it, and it really is. It's like a stunningly beautiful book, and the place that it came from as well was his wife's Jewish, and he basically made the Book of Genesis for her. So we went from doing a parody of Adam and Eve to actually creating something beautiful for his wife. As Crumb's gotten older, he's gone from being like this little sort of enfant terrible sort of weirdo to actually creating some absolutely beautiful artwork. There's a 3-part, they were in comic format, but they were actually an art series called Art and Beauty that have been collected into one volume, and it's just sketches of his, all done in his cross-hatching style that he does. It's amazing. Like whether you're religious or not, there's a price tag on there. Whether you're religious or not, it is a stunning piece of artwork. It really is. It's And if you're someone who is religious and have never had the reason to read the Old Testament, maybe in everybody's favorite way, ComX is the way to actually read those first 50 books. So it's I think it's Genesis to the death of Joseph, which is the first 50 books of the Bible. But yeah, it's one of those books that every time I turned the page, like a tear fell out of my eye because of how beautiful it was. This guy is just he's 80, I think, and he's still making stunning work like this. And it's if you're a fan of this because you are religious, my biggest suggestion is to not go back and look at the rest of Robert Crumb's work because you'll be extraordinarily disappointed. But if you are a fan of his previous work and just like his art style, it's definitely a great addition to your Robert Crumb library. Just stunning. Unfortunately, I think it goes for about $80 now because everything's expensive since COVID. But yeah, stunning. Yeah, just an amazing book.
Did you ever get to see the Robert Crumb documentary?
The Terry Zwigoff one? Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's what I've actually got it on DVD when it first came out. I think Madman brought it out. Yeah, it's been. I have a series of about 12 or 15 comic documentaries that get a regular rotation, and that's one of them. It's yeah, amazing. A bit of a tragic story too. Like his upbringing wasn't great.
Especially his
Charles.
brother. He was an artist too, but of course, like he kind of went off the rails, and his comics turned into like writing, and don't know what it was all about, but yeah, you feel very sorry for his brother. Like he just went into madness.
Yeah, well, I mean, Max, his other brother Max was. I think Max might still be alive, but I think Max was not very good either, if you know what I mean. But yeah, Charles was an amazing artist as well. Charles was the one who got Robert into drawing. And basically where that came from is that Charles was the older brother and just forced Robert to draw. It's like, I want a comic company and you are going to draw my comics with me. But yeah, just the tragedy of depression and mental illness, and it drove him to commit suicide eventually. But yeah, he was an amazing artist in his own right, but never got to fulfill what should have been his destiny, his artistic destiny.
Yeah, I agree. So you just came across this because you're just looking for stuff by Crumb?
So one of my regular searches on Amazon, like the three things I search on Amazon, John Byrne, Jack Kirby, Robert Crumb, because there's always something new coming out. And like these bookcases behind me are covered in works of Crumb, Byrne, and Kirby. And if I'm honest, there's a little bit of Harvey Kurtzman in there as well because I like that early Mad stuff. But yeah, it's so every time I open Amazon, there's always like, here's a whole stack of stuff that you might like, and it's like, got it. Oh, hello. So but yeah, this was one that jumped out at me just because it was so like this is literally the antithesis of anything that Robert Crumb has done previously. Like it's like still rendered in his amazing style, but it's like the opposite.
Yeah, it looks like the most realistic style of art that I've seen from Robert Crumb. He's got that more cartoony, like 70s trippy drug influence kind of stuff.
Yeah, very, very sort of early Disney, that sort of pumping cartoon sort of thing, like Steamboat Willie was, and early Felix the Cats. He's very much influenced by that. I mean, you even see that in Fritz the Cat and things like that. That was made into a film. Who made that?
Bakshi, I think.
Fire and Ice. Can't think of his name. Yeah, Ralph Bakshi. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Ralph Bakshi. But yeah, Ralph Bakshi didn't do a good job because I remember Robert Crumb hated how he turned it out because Fritz the Cat is supposed to be an absolute bastard and he made him too weak, which is why he ended up killing him off in the third issue.
What was the ostrich murdered him with a screwdriver?
Yeah.
No way.
That's the worst way to go too.
Damn ostriches. I think you've explained it really well. I've got no questions, to be honest. But
should we have a look at the comments?
Yeah.
go way back.
Yeah, lots there.
You got some from when Sean was doing his ones. Helsing, I love the new collector's editions.
Yeah, those
sounds
other ones are
pretty.
amazing.
Sounds interesting. That was for Sean's one. And now we get into Justin's. You go, yeah, get him, Sis. Got the Woo Crumb. Thankfully, I was named after Jack Kirby instead. Beck Crumb was a close second, though.
I'll just point out that Kirby J is my daughter, and her name Kirby J is because she's named after Jack Kirby.
Nice.
There you go. There you go. It says pick on Justin.
You
And then
bastards.
James is laughing. Crumb is trippy, so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, Justin hooked me up. That looks awesome. Got Stu. I remember that book. Wow, I would have forgotten about that. Thanks, Justin. Jeffrey, I read some of this when I was 10.
Jesus.
Jero flexing expensive books. Never thought I'd see Justin promoting the Bible.
Yeah.
I got Ray's late to the party, so I have to watch from the start. You know what? You know what I like? I'll definitely have me picking up for sure. We got It's a Green Screen. There's no books behind Justin. So don't ruin the illusion.
I can't read. I can't actually read.
And then someone saying with the morning or evening.
Ah, yes, from over in the States.
And that's it so
Hey,
far.
if I continue the order, Brian. Oh, wrong way. Tell us about your book.
All right.
Hey.
So this week I read The Spider King by Josh Van and Simon Diamini. So this one was originally funded through Kickstarter as a graphic novel. And then they were lucky enough that it was picked up by IDW in 2018, and they broke it up into 4 issues and then a reprint of the graphic novel through IDW. So Josh Van is a Melbourne-based comic writer. Simon Diamini is an Italian illustrator. He's worked on Elektra, Red, White, and Blood. He's worked on Star Wars Adventures. And he did, I think it was for Dark Horse, he did an incredible comic translation of Macbeth, the Shakespeare play Macbeth in comic form, but based on, I believe, closer to the true history of Macbeth rather than the Shakespearean tragedy, which I haven't had a chance to check out yet, but definitely want to. So the whole sort of concept for this book is, what if aliens invaded Earth in 956 AD? So it starts out in Europe, so Northern Europe, and the king of the Laxdale clan, Halvard, has died. And so his community is in mourning, and his son Harolf really doesn't want to elevate to being the clan leader. He doesn't want to be the king. He doesn't want to have to carry that legacy that was built by his father. So we kind of end with this, begrudge. The first sort of opening ends with this sort of begrudgingness that he's going to take on this mantle because it's what is required of him, being the son of a king. And then we flash forward to a bloody battlefield where him and his uncle are now on opposing sides, fighting for control over these lands and over the Laxdale clan. So they're preparing to have their final showdown once and for all in the snow, one army against the other, winner takes all. When out of the sky comes crashing an enormous alien spaceship. and from there, sort of havoc ensues because the spaceship was transporting sort of a depleted parasitic warlord called the Spider King, who has now been released upon the Earth. And so, as you can imagine, the bad guys end up sort of in the same area doing the same thing, and the good guys end up over here in a sort of a ragtag group of misfits and leftovers that somehow have to band together to try and bring down this intergalactic parasitic warlord, or else risk the whole world sort of falling under the control of the Spider King. And I really want to show you, because it's set in that Nordic area of Northern Europe, and the artwork is just absolutely stunning. There's like a real storybook quality to it.
Oh wow,
That's really neat. That's nice.
It kind of reminded me of there's a Cartoon Network series called Over the Garden Wall, and the artwork is so kooky and whimsical that he's managed to take that style and almost put it into a world that's as gruesome and as violent as what you'd encounter in, say, Game of Thrones or Vikings, the series itself. But it's all done in this almost like Nordic wood carving esque type illustrative style. The colors are done by a guy named Adrian Block, and I think that he's just absolutely knocked it out of the park. Just another example of some pages and some
Really nice.
like
I see what you mean.
interior pages. So they kind of I don't want to give too much away because it's a bit of an adventure comic as the narrative kicks in and gets rolling. But one of the best parts of the book is we find out that maybe the ship carrying the Spider King wasn't the only ship that crash landed on Earth. And maybe another ship was full of some interesting weapons that the Vikings might use to their advantage. So
cool.
It kind of turns into a cool sci-fi revenge drama as well. And I can't speak for if you pick up the IDW version, but there's some extras that are thrown into this book as well. You get a prequel comic, so you get to learn a little bit more about Harolth, and there's another his sort of childhood friend Sigrid and her clan. I get the sense from reading it that they're, ideally they're betrothed or they're supposed to be together, those two, since they've been like childhood friends. So you learn a little bit more about them. There's a fantastic proof of concept. I guess it's like a pilot comic tucked into the back called Fluffy the Barbarian. And it's from 2013. So 3 years before the Kickstarter book goes live, they did sort of like a proof of concept ashcan, which is thrown into the back of the book as well, along with some character sketches and a whole bunch of pin-ups and tribute fan art from a range of artists, like some that have gone on to have their own like successful projects and stuff now as well. You know, there's like this fan art here from Andrew McLean, who has had phenomenal success with Headlopper. He's done Godzilla for, I think he's done Godzilla for IDW. He's got some more books coming out all the time, but super, super talented guy. Yeah, so I recommend this book a lot. It's an art style unlike anything else I've really encountered in comics, and really just boutique art house animation studios, you know, are doing the sort of work that Simon Diamini has put into this book. And I do know that he uses a similar-ish art style in his adaptation of Macbeth as well. So if you like the art that you saw in this, you could probably pick up Macbeth as well, and you'll get that same sort of storybook, historical, whimsical sort of style that seems like it's not going to fit with like a violent sort of space revenge Viking book. But it's kind of like you read it and you're like, oh, I don't know if I'd want to read this book if it had a different art style. Like it goes so well together, you know? Like sometimes you get an artist and a writer and you can't imagine them doing that story in any other way than how it's been done. And I very strongly feel that about what Josh Van and Simon Diamini have done with this book. So yeah, highly recommend it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Oh,
Did you find this through the Kickstarter? That's the Kickstarter version you have, isn't
That's the
it?
Kickstarter version, yeah. So I didn't back it on Kickstarter. I missed the campaign, and so I reached out to Josh Van directly, and he sent me a copy. So if you can't find it anywhere, Josh Van has social media. He's got some websites and whatnot. So maybe reach out to Josh. I'm sure that if he's still got copies around, he would be more than happy to sell you a copy directly rather than going through like eBay or any of those sort of secondary markets.
Cool.
The colouring in that was amazing. The depth of field that they got with the colour choices is absolutely stunning. I would follow just that colourist for how good that was.
Yeah, I feel very much the same. And to do so much with what is essentially flats, like he's not using a lot of technical tools or styles or any complex lighting setups or anything like that. It's all I mean, yeah, I'm just flicking through it now. It's all basically flats, but on like a nice glossy page.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's allowing it to be super, super vibrant, and that's what's giving it like that huge lift. But yeah, the colors are part of what's kind of solidified this whole project for me. Is like everything's the artwork works so well with the story. The colors work so well with the artwork. Like it's doing that dance of what we love in comics so much and what makes comics successful.
It kind
looked
of
like the colors were being used to show place as well. Like you could tell they were in a tavern because of the palette selection, and you could tell like they were outside just from the quick glance of what you showed.
Yeah, you don't get lost in this, even though there's a lot of outdoor areas that are in Northern Europe, so there's a lot of trees, a lot of snow, a lot of rocks, and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, because he's using color so well that you're not getting lost at any point during the book. Like you know exactly where you are, you know exactly when you are, like you know who's, no matter how much is going on, you know exactly who's in the scene. Nothing's getting lost, nothing's muddy. Yeah,
really cool.
The reason the colors stood out for me is it reminded me so much of like 60s and 70s European horror, where they used different colors to create an artificial depth of field, and it just like the comics almost look like I can't think of it, where they create like the silhouettes with like a cutout of trees with a cutout of other trees, and that creates like an artificial depth. The coloring in that really reminded me of that, creating that artificial depth. It was amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm in. I'm 100% in. God damn it! Another comic title to write down on my list here. God damn it!
My list is getting huge from all these episodes.
Yeah,
I might have to stop watching.
And that's everyone's between this week and last time I was on. You guys are sending me down the manga train as well, and I swore I was never going to go down that road.
One of us.
But
One of us.
What's going on? Why not?
Well, that's the thing. That's what it is. Good stories are good stories. Why am I depriving myself of excellent storytelling?
Well, I'm kind of with you, Ryan. I'm not a manga guy. And there was a period where I got a little bit angry at DC and Marvel because there was just a period where none of their stories are resonating with me. And I was like, what else is there? And I started with, I think, Gantz and Junji Ito. And now I've got like a full bookcase here that's just manga.
Yeah.
I've already dipping my toes into it. I've got on pre-order the X-Men manga deluxe edition remaster that they're doing. So,
awesome.
So just easing into
it. yeah, you got to ease into it, sis. You can't just jump straight in.
Block your nose, jump.
I'd recommend probably having a look at Empowered. If you ever see it. Because that's actually by Adam Warren. Like, he's actually one of my favorite artists of all time, but he's like one of the top American manga inspired artists, and his Empowered is pretty much his superhero take. So it's actually not as full on as The Boys, but it's more like a light jab at superheroes. So it's definitely more of a comedy.
I like it already.
Should we have a look at some comments?
You're going to say, before we go with Ed, let's look at the comments, Ed.
They got Kirby with Joe is still learning English, and that's why he can't read. It's a lovely message. Got Nick May. I was on the Spider King Kickstarter.
You know, I saw Nick's name in the back of the book.
Oh, no way.
In the thank yous.
I have some stuff to do. Sadly, I enjoy the videos. Take care of yourself. Catch you next time. Did probably miss that. See you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric. Probably missed it, but I'll wave anyway.
We got Lee with his classic hand signals. That sounds sick. I have to read it. You got Never Too Old. Say hello.
Howdy.
You got the Vikings versus Aliens.
Vikings versus Aliens. Why did it take so long to do Vikings versus Aliens? It took until this book.
It's the prequel to Cowboys versus Aliens.
They did have like the Xenomorph aliens fighting Vikings. A while back.
Yeah, the Parallax. I've got that novel.
Have you heard of Duke comic artwork?
No.
Nope.
But I can check him out now.
Yeah, now I know the name.
Could any of these characters be played by Harrison Ford? That's for Ryan.
Every character should be played by Harrison Ford.
I mean, why not?
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
One of us. One of us.
Does anyone else do that? Does anyone else, when you're reading a graphic novel, do you ever cast it while you're reading? Like, do you ever read along thinking, man, who would play this role if this was going to get adapted?
Usually not until I've finished it.
Not till you finished it?
Yeah, when I finish it, I sit back and my post-read musing, the afterglow of reading is usually, who would I cast in that? But mine's never like, who is around now? It's always like, who in the 120 years of cinema would I shoehorn into this? Yeah.
Well, nobody. I always kind of think of everything when I read comics like manga animated.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, this lends it, like, I would pay good money to see an animated film of this book. done in exactly that same style.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
If you're listening,
So-
Josh, we need it.
Here it is, Sean. This is where Ed does your book.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'm gonna look this way because that's where the TV is. So I can see it large, even though it's got a 6-second lag. But you know,
All right. So I've got Blade Whip by Sean, who's with us today. And I decided to do this book because I read the lineup wrong, and I looked at next week's lineup. I didn't know Sean was going to be on. But anyway, I read this, and it's got awesome
Nice. Wrap around.
wraparound. That's the word.
Oh, fantastic.
So,
great. This is a complete burning, a roasting.
so this is Blade Whip. That's the main character there, Blade Whip, and it's a story set in the future. It's a science fiction-y kind of thing. Another big thing to show you is that it's in reverse, like a manga. So it's not, doesn't go that way, it goes the other way.
So don't confuse Westerners.
Yeah, there's a nice splash. So Blade Whip is part of a mercenary clan, and so they're like a Scottish, like Highlander clan. They are the
Irish. It's supposed to be
Irish. Yeah, that's right. Yes, because they're the O'Connors. And so everyone, or most of the main characters. Let me start again. So Blade Whip, the main character, has an Irish brogue, and it reminded me of the old X-Men comics where Claremont would try and shoehorn in an accent wherever he could. So they are, their clan are space mercenaries, space mercs.
Yep.
Yep. And so they do. They're kind of like bounty hunters. It seems like they're
well, like private soldiers.
There you go. So it's set in the far future, and so she's got a robot arm, and she's got the Blade Whip weapon, which extends out. You can see it coming out through. The Blade Whip's like, it's a whip, but it's got blades on it. And then all the rest of the clan members have the signature weapons as well. And so she's on a mission, and she's also pregnant, if you could see there. And then you could see the Blade Whip, the cool design that Sean did. And so she needs the money, so she's going on a mission to hunt down a bad guy. And she runs into a different bad guy on the way, which I've got to show you because the design's so cool. So there's that girl there with the Medusa hair, kind of cyborg augmentation. Looks really cool. So it's kind of split up into parts. There's the introduction, which tells you about the Blade Whip character, the clans. We go to the mission, which is almost non-stop action. There's the interaction, the big crescendo fight with the bad guy, and then there's a nice bit of like family drama at the end, and it says the ending's really kind of like tender, like there's a bit of vulnerability displayed by the Blade Whip character after she's just been smashing up robots and pardon me, and fighting with all the super powered, like robotically augmented bad guys. And the way that Sean's done it is it works really well as a self-contained issue with the 3 sections, and then with the way that he's ended it and set it up for upcoming issues, it's a really well set up for what's coming next. And I've got Sean's like earlier book, and the level up in Sean's artwork is amazing. This it's a really good comic book. One of my favorite things is watching the independent artists just get better at their craft as the more pages they do, the more reps they get in. This is a really good example of that sort of thing. So
Very cool.
if you like manga and Sean's stuff, obviously he did the manga review, and I think he has in all the other ones. So his artwork's really heavily influenced by manga, and he's got such a strong style that just you could instantly see any of his drawings and know straight away that it's one of his drawings, which is really cool. He's already found his style, and he's just improving it with every thing that he does.
Well,
so that's
as
my thing.
Ryan Bella said to me once, the art reminds him of a Japanese manga clash with a 70s American underground. Which was kind of ironically that I was both reading those stuff at the time when I accidentally found my style. Actually,
there you go.
Thanks to Ryan Bell, like he was giving me all these indie comics like from America, but also Australia too. Just like so I know a fair bit of I'm quite in debt to Ryan Bell actually.
Yeah, Ryan's great.
Yeah, pretty much I just like art-wise and probably writing in a sense as well. Just like introduced me to that world, and it's just like, oh yeah, so there is a underground world, or just like comics are much more than just Marvel and DC, which I thought it was, and especially back at the time, it's like, oh, do I have to do these Marvel and DC characters to get somewhere, or to work in the industry? And it's like, no, you don't. Like, there's other like companies that let you do create your own stuff and all that, or like you can do your own thing and maybe like do it and they will come.
Well, that was really good. All I'm going to say is be glad I didn't do the review because I suck at it. So even though I really like the book, I would have destroyed anyone's wish to read it after my talking about it. So yes, thank you, Ed, for showing the true value of that comic that I wouldn't have been able to. I would have just said, yeah, it's got this and this and there's some this and there, like I do on the books normally. Do you want to go through any comments before we go to the next section?
Sure. We got Jeffrey. I cast it. Cast it every time.
Wow.
Get amongst a Dark Horse, Berserk, Leatherette hardcovers.
Oh.
They do look cool on the shelf.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Bad with names, so I always try to place a known face to characters in books. I keep them straight while reading.
Oh, okay.
Ed, did you know to read that one as a manga when you first started reading it? Or did you start reading it and think, why is this woman reattaching people's heads with a whip?
There's the covers on the back. And also I read Sean's first book, which was, he drew it, and it was written by Susan Tor, and it has the old reading the wrong way thing. So
cool.
Well, to let you know, like Danyako was like B for another manga series back like in the noughties, which just ceased and disappeared off the face of the earth. So instead of starting all over again, I just kept going with that. Despite how crummy the start was. Sorry, when I look at that first issue, I'm just like, oh man, freaking, I hate that first issue, just the way how I drew it. you know, like my God, I've
Well,
been through so much.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, take comfort in the fact that most artists seem to hate their first issue. So
Yeah.
any
Just
comic
means
they
you're getting
do,
better.
and the second ones have done the third, and the third ones have done the fourth.
Well,
I always
that one was
love
more
looking
like,
at
learn as I go along. What I was
Yeah.
making that.
I always love looking at the first issue of Cerebus by Dave Sim compared to the last issue, and it's like they're like drawn by different people.
Well, that was the same with the Crow too. How
Yeah.
the first Crow issue looked really loose and all that, but along the way, like when you look at the 5-1, it's gotten so much tighter and a lot more detail as well.
100%.
Ed, are you ready?
For
This
what?
is the part where I go, if you want to be on the show,
Oh,
this is the link that you want. Let's see if Ed can do it. Should I go do it?
no, I can do
He's
it.
looking for it. He's looking for it. I'll put him on the spot. I'm such an asshole. ComX.show/interest. There's a form there. It's not just this show. If you want to be on any of the other shows as well, let us know. And I'll have a look over those and try to get you on the show wherever there's a gap. So, yeah, that's where you want to go if you want to be on the show. And to help these shows, just remember to like the show, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget, share the video as well with your friends. Get more people watching it because that really helps us out. Now it's the part where we all do a bit of a plug. Now, I have decided not to do the usual, and I've gone totally off the screen now, the usual putting the video up and then it going crazy big when I don't catch it in time. I'm just going to put a little thing on the screen. So we've got a minute. And should I do it to myself or should I just look at it? I think I'll just look at it because holding it up and trying to do a pitch will be weird. Okay, I'm going to start it. Wonder if it makes a noise. Haven't tried it out yet. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is the fact that me and Kez are going to Oz Comic Con Brisbane this weekend. We will be walking around, so please feel free to come up and say g'day. Tell us what you love about ComX. Tell us what you hate about ComX, whatever. Just don't get aggressive. I'm not a really conflict type person. But yeah.
Shane, you look so menacing in real life.
Sorry? I know, I'm very
menacing in
menacing in real life. Very menacing. I'm like a big, cuddly Santa Claus. So yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about is the fact that I'm going to that this weekend with Kez. We'll be walking around. We'll be interviewing different artists, different creators, and hoping that there is a lot of them, which we don't know yet. Oh, hang on. Let's see if this makes a noise. It makes a noise. Oh, shit. I didn't know it made that loud a noise. So, yeah. So, yeah. Come and see us if you're in Brisbane or around Brisbane, or hell, if you're in Melbourne, fly up or walk, whatever. You got a week. Come on.
Well, I might be there, Shane. I might not. This depends.
Who wants to go next? Anyone? Well, who's got something that they want to promote? I won't force you to come up here if you've got nothing to promote.
Okay.
Oh, it's chilly.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah. So I was on Chinwag with Lee Chalker last week. So if you want to learn a little bit more about me, you can watch that, check that out. That would be fantastic. Support the show. Lee's a great interviewer. And he's got good guests on every week. But the main thing I want to talk about is that Sis and I will soon be launching ComX original art. So if you are an Australian comic creator and you want to have a physical storefront to sell your artwork, well, online storefront, I should say, to sell your physical artwork, then we want to help out. So if you've got a stack of artwork laying around, or you've always wanted to work traditionally, but you've thought, I don't know what I'm going to do with all those pages, we're going to have a shop. We're going to have folios that we take around the shows. So yeah, we'd love as many as people as possible to get on board.
Cool. Thanks, Ryan. Anyone else got something they want to promo, or just themselves? Anyone?
No.
Ed, talk about Radical.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Mhm. All right. So, funny enough, I have a comic book called Radical. There's 3 issues available in the comic store. It's a story about superhero set in Melbourne. I also have my Sea Mandrills from Earth, which is a ode to sea monkeys and Savage Sword of Conan. Got my Cobber book, which is a Melbourne crime comedy set in the 80s. That's only available on my Patreon, which is at Ed Kisley Art. And me and Sis have a show called Let's Make a Comic Book, where we're on to season 2, and that's on Thursday nights. So watch that as well. And I'm done.
Sweet. So, what's this thing of yours, Justin, that you were told to pitch? I didn't quite catch that comment.
That was from James
Chili.
Mahoney talking about my cat Chili. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, this is your chance to pitch your cat. Oh, I know. And Sean, are you going to this weekend as well? Because you're in Brisbane, so
Yeah, maybe not. Just depends on the
okay,
finances
just
and stuff. But I just will do a quick promotion. So yeah, I'm Sean Craig. I make a comic manga like called Blade Whip. I've also done Zenyaku. That's still kind of available, but probably down the track it's going to be collected into a trade paperback. Maybe do a Kickstarter on that.
oh, cool.
I'm on DeviantArt, just like Sean C at deviantart.com. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram as well. I am working on the next Blade Whip issue.
Nice.
When it's going to be out, I have no idea because my life's kind of been a bit of a mess. Just, I don't know if anyone's like being like a new parent with a baby and all that, but your life kind of is a bit of a mess trying to work things out.
Makes
But
sense.
you know, it'll come out when it comes out. Hopefully, I was aiming for November this year, but I've only done like 3 pages so far. Maybe like next year, and next year's Supernova Brisbane, it'll probably be out the next Blade Whip.
Oh, awesome.
So, you know, just we'll see. We'll see.
Cool. Thanks, Sean. Are you ready, Ed? Or do you want me to do it? I want to do it.
What are you doing?
You've forgotten, haven't you? Oh, which button is it? Oh, this one. Here, I'll do it.
Are you feeling a little down? Tired of reading the same old books again and again? Looking for something different? Why not head over to the ComX shop now and pick yourself up some freshly inked inspiration?
That little sneeze always cracks me up. I really need to get that footage redone though, because the shop looks nothing like that anymore. It's just as a bit of a thing there for the ComX shop. Comx.net.au gets you to the shop now. But if you do get confused and you put comx.shop, it will take you there anyway. So it doesn't matter. You'll get there eventually. I'm just trying to combine all the sites into one so it's easier to find stuff. Because I had like 5 million sites and I only had 5 topics. I don't know how I had that many sites, but I did it anyway. I just kept making sites every time I thought, oh, we need another site to describe this part of that page. I don't know what it was. But yeah, sorry about that, Ryan. I only timed you and me. So I totally forgot to press the button for everyone else.
That's all right.
So this is the part where I also say again, for anyone who just tuned in or didn't listen to me before, if you want to be part of the show, this one or any of the others, this one's probably the best one if you're not a creator, because you don't have to draw in this one. You don't have to create anything live. You just have to love comics. That's it. We don't care where you're from. We don't care what you do. We don't care if you only read comics or if you make comics or you're just some dude who picked up his first comic and really loved it. We want you on the show to tell us about what you loved about that comic or manga. I call them more comic because really they sort of are all. They're just different areas, come from different. Like I could call them all manga if I wanted to and just make them the leader of the pack or whatever. I think I'm describing this really poorly.
The manga just means comic in Japanese anyway. So it's
yeah. That's what I thought.
Sequential art. Sequential art.
Comics. Take your pick and just give us your review.
Yeah, exactly. So they're all welcome. So on that note, I think we've done it, Ed. So I would like to thank everyone for watching. Thank you for you guys for joining us and telling us about your comics and putting up with me. And that's everyone. Thank you for the creators of the comics that we got to talk about, for making those excellent comics that made us want to talk about them. And thank you to all the viewers. See you next week. All right, all.
See you next week.
Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much.